さんじゃないか。どうしてそんな箱の中に。
Yame-san! Konnichiwa. それは何ですか？どんなビデオ？今日はの曜日ですか？火曜日です。Oh my god. Oh my god! 私はアップロードしなかった。Konnichiwa. I'm sorry I failed you all and I didn't upload yesterday as I was supposed to. In fact, it's gonna go up late today as well. But, oh well, I guess. Or it could go tomorrow, but I don't want that. Let's see if, hopefully my editors can chop that up really fast. And if you've noticed, I'm wearing different glasses. I can't find mine. I think Pikachu did something with them. But either way, we're gonna do the show as usual. Welcome to Anime Review. Or Animu Review. Something along that. So I wanted something catchy. I can't think of anything, okay? I'm not a writer. I'm an anime enthusiast. Anyways, if you read the title, you know exactly what we are reviewing. We are going to be reviewing the entirety of Dragon Ball Super. But enough about me. Oh my goodness. I bet we didn't think this day would come so soon. But here that day is. And I'm just going to say for the record that it was really good. Granted, I'm not going to say it was great. Not bad. But great? I don't know. Let's find out. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, you know, in case you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why. There's obviously spoilers, but if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna touch base with the beginning, and then we're gonna work our way back up to the finale. So this may take a while. So first up, the Battle of the Gods arc, which is a more extended, detailed, and slightly altered version of the movie by the same name. Overall, it was good. The differences were even good enough to give those who've already watched the movie something to look forward to. It's just the story of the first appearance of Beerus and Whis, and him and Goku's fight for the fate of the world. Though honestly, the anime's Super Saiyan God transformation was a lot longer and a lot more godlike than the one we saw in the movie. The whole entire sky changing colors and the ambient sounds, like it was awesome. Definitely something special. Though honestly, some of the most amazing moments in the movie were unfortunately not in the anime, like this one here.
I will not let you destroy my world!
Granted, that's just, you know, one scene, but it was just so cool to hear that scream. It was amazing, and I would have liked to have heard that in the actual anime. But overall, it was good. It was, I mean, the anime suffered some backlash because of some animation issues in the first few episodes. Like, you see it. I don't need to say much. The backlash was definitely well deserved. I don't know how they let that happen, but thankfully, it didn't really happen too much after. Everything just got a whole lot better. But I have to give it to them. After the backlash, we definitely never saw that again. Sometimes I sit there and wonder what happened to it. The second arc, which is called Resurrection F or Golden Frieza or Resurrection Frieza, was literally just, again, a more extended, more detailed, story-wise version of the movie by the same name. Though I think this arc had a little bit of a more impactful addition to the anime series, like the return of Captain Ginyu, one of Frieza's most valued assets. That was really cool. I like that addition a lot. Though honestly, though a worthy opponent for like the first couple minutes, you know, fighting everybody and keeping them away, he eventually got beaten down pretty easy. But you know, I guess it was cool to see that happen. You know, it was like a callback to what happened back in Dragon Ball Z. There's a lot of that in this show. I won't talk about all of them, but it was a lot of that, and it was great. But everything in general was just the same, just a little more dragged out. Gohan's disappointing display was even left in there, so you know it's canon. But overall, good arc. But now we are caught up We got past those two really quickly because there's not much happening there if you've seen the movies. If you haven't, like I said, I don't know why you're watching this review. But anyways, where does Dragon Ball Super officially start having fresh new content? Besides some small misadventures featuring our favorite little galactic trooper and Goten and Trunks and an evil purple Vegeta, to which we saw Vegeta sucking on a pacifier just to keep himself from fading out of existence, due to said purple Vegeta. As bizarre as that sounds, and also a drama-filled Gohan and Videl storyline featuring a crazy alien parasite that infects its host and gives them super abilities, who found its way to Earth again through our favorite little galactic trooper. He's honestly, he's the worst. He's there for comedic effect, but I just hate him. But all of these little side stories occur after a lot of like the major storylines. But I just thought I'd quickly mention them just to kind of get them out of the way, because we're not focusing on filler. The next major arc in Dragon Ball Super had to have been Universe 6 arc, where we meet Champa, who's Beerus' brother, though he's a little pudgier than Beerus. But this is truly the first time we get a taste of Dragon Ball Super's concept of other universes and other worlds, which honestly makes way for a whole lot of new enemy types. So bravo to that arc. And this was also a really good arc because the fights finally got like more intense. They got so much better than the last two arcs, especially when Goku finally used his Kaioken with his Super Saiyan Blue. Like, that was amazing. Also, a whole lot of new characters were introduced from Universe 6 and ended up becoming mainstays in the series that we actually wanted to see grow. Well, sort of. Hits the man, though. But overall, this arc really built up expectations for Dragon Ball Super, and with a good reason, because from here it just gets better and better. So overall, very good arc. Next arc, and one of the fan favorites, I don't know if that's still the case after the last arc, but still, this arc is definitely in everyone's hearts, and this is definitely where a lot of people got more caught on to Dragon Ball Super and weren't just watching it because, ooh, look, it's Dragon Ball. And yes, I am talking about the Future Trunks arc, or the Goku Black arc, whatever you want to call it. This arc brought back a classic fan favorite character and gave him a darker and even more grittier storyline than the last one he had. Something of which Dragon Ball Super lacked. The story, while somewhat convoluted honestly, is pretty well thought out, and the battle between Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks against Zamasu and Goku Black was, though it had a lot of back and forth, it definitely felt like a battle for survival. Zamasu's dark and complex character really made this arc come alive, honestly. Also, let's be honest, seeing Vegito Super Saiyan Blue was definitely a sight worth seeing. Though, honestly, the final attack led by Zamasu, which in my opinion was extremely unnecessary, the end result of that final attack brought a change that would affect the entire, like the rest of Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball in general. And yes, I'm talking about two Zeno-samas. But here we are, down to the meat, the bread and butter. Yes, I am talking about the longest standing arc in the Dragon Ball series, the finale of Dragon Ball Super. So far, the Universe Survival arc. While I did really enjoy this arc, which had some of the best fight scenes to date, one thing I really didn't like too much was how the trope of having the protagonist as the most overpowered characters, it kind of took it a little overboard this time. If you watched it, you get what I mean, but in the end, you were probably still rooting them on like I was. I mean, granted, they are the protagonists, so they obviously shouldn't be the ones to lose, but still. But what made amends for that was honestly being able to see every other character besides the main character have a moment to shine. It was pretty great. Though, as usual, most eyes were mainly on Goku, which is expected, honestly, but a lot of the other characters had a lot of good scenes, too. One of them that sticks out to me the most, and I love this scene with all my heart, is when Vegeta transformed into his perfect Super Saiyan Blue. That shade of blue and just his power, it was amazing. Though I feel that as long as it took for him to achieve that, he was taken out of the equation pretty quick. If anything, honestly, it's gotten to the point where they know Goku is going to win. Like, the characters themselves know. Like Vegeta was standing there saying, "Goku, you can do this," and you know, like I get it, he's your last hope, but at the same time, it was the way they were saying it. You know, it's gotten to the point where they just know they're self-aware. They know Goku is the shit. The fact that they are self-aware is both good and bad, honestly. I feel like he's always ahead of Vegeta. That's their dynamic, but I wish that, you know, they would kind of give other characters a chance to overshine him. You know, just sometimes. Trunks kind of had that in the black Goku arc, though. I'm not gonna lie, but it was short-lived. And honestly, I just feel like Goku made a lot of mistakes that he just didn't learn from. Granted, that's a lot of his charm, you know, but he's the one that technically started the whole Universal Tournament in the first place. Lots of lives were lost because of him. Granted, the ending kind of made his bad choices seem a lot more trivial, but still. As much as I enjoyed watching from a viewer's standpoint, I still feel that story-wise, Goku was just a little bit too careless. I feel that maybe Goku should have gotten eliminated or something, and Vegeta should have, you know, kept going. Vegeta was actually more concerned about the lives of his new daughter and his wife and everything, and his promise. Like, it just seemed like he was fighting for something, as opposed to Goku, who showed signs of just fighting to fight. Like, he knew what was on the line, but he was so overconfident. And I feel like that was never really fully addressed. They said it to him, but he doesn't really learn from it. I just think Vegeta should have stuck around a little bit longer, whether Goku was in or not. They underplayed him a little too much. And honestly, having Goku get eliminated instead of Vegeta and having Vegeta continue would have been brand new. It would have been really a big surprise, a huge twist that no one would have expected. And it kind of would have been really cool to see that. Such a difference in the series. Because then Goku is going to want to get to a whole new level, something much better. You know, like, they keep leaving Vegeta in that place, but then never really giving him a full upgrade. I mean, for Pete's sake, he hasn't even gotten to Super Saiyan 3. Though Goku's Ultra Instinct transformation was honestly incredible. I'm not gonna lie, that was amazing, especially when he perfected it. It made his fight against Kefla and Jiren, who, let me stop and say, is the most overpowered monster ever. I don't know if it was necessary to make him that freaking unstoppable, but they did, and honestly, it was still pretty good. And again, the fights were amazing. The animation, for what it was in the first arc, had tripled into something fantastic. It was amazing to watch, and it made the fights just so much more beautiful to watch. It was gorgeous. But other than those little nitpicks, countless new enemies were brought from multiple different universes to fight, and they were all pretty well done. Some of them were just kind of like, they were there and then they were defeated and they were gone, but others actually had backstories that we could latch onto. Two of my favorite had to be Kale and Khalifa. Why? Khalifa is a badass female Saiyan. Our first, I swear these are like our first female Super Saiyans. And she is so awesome, she tapped into it without even trying. No anger was in her heart. She just, bam. They even gave that explanation that everyone was complaining about the tingly sensation on your back. I thought that it was great to have a different way to achieve it. It didn't always have to be anger. It could also be skill. It was very relatable, like a lot of things you can do in life. And Kale was the female Broly. And they gave it a name. It was Super Saiyan Berserk, I believe. And their dynamic was pretty great, especially when they ended up fusing. It was just really cool, honestly. And then the fact that Kale was able to start to control her Super Saiyan Berserk and, you know, just turn into the female Broly at will was pretty awesome. And yeah, I know, she has a name. She's not the female Broly. But come on, Broly is just so much more iconic. Massive spoiler alert for those who haven't watched the ending. The winner was Android 17. Home of which the trope of undefeatable protagonist was sprinkled a little bit more onto. But besides that, he had the kindness of hearts, granting the wish that Zeno-sama actually wanted to hear. It turns out the whole thing was a big old test. I'm not gonna say more on that if you haven't watched it, just wanted to watch the review. But yeah, he said the words that that Zeno-sama wanted to hear from the victor. which honestly kind of makes up for him being super unkillable. In the end, I think the point was that his character came full circle, from a murderous creation into a being that had respect for all life. It was definitely the cherry on top of the whole tournament. I liked it a lot. But speaking of character development, Frieza is the enemy that truly made the biggest difference in the series. As odd as it may be, it makes the most sense. He and Goku were rivals for so long, to the point where they would fight comfortably. We first saw signs of that during the Golden Frieza arc in Dragon Ball Super. And then later on when Goku nominated him as the 10th member of Universe 7. Their rivalry became their bond. And honestly, watching them fight together to defeat Jiren was something worth seeing. While I'm sure many were very skeptical about the whole thing, he made it clear he was still evil. But we could tell that after all these years, he learned something. Though I always think about this, I bet you Bardock is doing backflips in his grave. But it was good to see the show take a direction like that, especially with Frieza being one of the first villains of Dragon Ball Super. And in general. Now, I'm sure there's a lot more I can say, but overall, I say this arc was great. But that's not what we want to hear. Overall, Dragon Ball Super overall. Overall, I say Dragon Ball Super was a very good return to the series. At first, it may not have seemed that, but they were definitely building up to something. You could tell, and at the finale, it all kind of came together. Especially with Android 17 and Frieza. Maybe this return to the series was not one that was needed, but I dare ask, until a series is over and you fully experienced it, did you ever really need it? Dragon Ball Super's fights were intense from the start and grew up to get better. Though a little wonky at first, the animation definitely picked up, especially in those last few episodes. They were at their best, honestly. And the characters that we have all known and loved, they've grown, but never really changed. Which really gives Dragon Ball Super, while brand new, such a reminiscing feeling. So having said that, I give Dragon Ball Super, so far, because it ain't over, people, an 8 out of 10. And that is my final grade. Dragon Ball Super was a super good time. And I hope you all really liked this Dragon Ball Super review. It was a whole lot of fun. And it was definitely a great anime for both old and new fans. So thank you all for watching. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go take a nap. Come on, Pika. Let's go.